Hello. Well, I was going to have a swing today, or on this session, but something told me not to. So I sacked it. So I listened to that inner voice. And then I just ended up caught up in books because I bought this board down and all of the perfect absurdities on it. I was going to talk about this Joseph Lagrange, the guy that worked out the three-body solution. 2 points, Sun, Earth, and then the James Webb Space Telescope is 1.5 million kilometers away from us, but with the sun behind it. So you've got Sun, Earth, and Lagrange point 2, where the James Webb Space Telescope is. And it just hovers. And then I opened a book, the first book that I go to, all right? My 1961 book of science. And it came to me, I remember from before, Lagrange isn't in here, right? In 1961, Lagrange, the guy that worked out the three-body solution, is not in this book, right? Now, I remember going through this before, but then I checked book number 3 because it's got all the other names like Huygens, Isaac Newton, Kepi, and when I opened that, I got distracted by something else. So we're going to forget Lagrange, the absurdity that is Lagrange, because really, quite seriously, why on earth is somebody working out, how are they working out the three-body solution, gravitational pulls on things, and under the right conditions, one just hovers because of the counter action of the other gravitational forces means it can hover. Kepi, planetary motion in 1609. This is when they were born. This is when they did their thing, give or take a year, and this is when they kicked the bucket, right? Christian Huygens. So what I was going to do, I was going to read that, his theory of light, okay? This is 1674. 200 years before electricity, right? You listening at the back? 200 years before electricity. And Christian Huygens comes up with this. This is his wave theory of light, okay? Where are we? He presented this theory to the public in his treatise on light in 1690. But he had worked out its details long before. I bet he had. He held that different points of a wave front or wave crest of light set up an infinitely numerous series of secondary waves. These secondary waves reinforce each other after a time and produce a new wave front. Other secondary waves arise and these result ultimately in still another wave front. Thus, light is propagated. Right, okay, nice one, Christian. But why? How? Well, they had with the sun 200 years before electricity was even thought of, right? Where did that come from? It's an absurdity, I assure you. But then, I bounced further. And I wanted to read out Newton's three laws, you know, the laws of motion. Now, this is how they were written in 1961. The one that we all know is the third one. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? So, I can't remember exactly, I've got the words there, but let's just listen to how they were written in 1961, all right? Right, here we go. So, we've got Newton's laws, right? I'm going to read them out. First one, everybody continues in its state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless it is compelled to change that state by forces impressed upon it. So it's had a definite upgrade, isn't it? Like church upgrades the Bible. It just goes with the times, doesn't it? Okay. Number 2. The change of motion is proportional to the motive. Oh, sorry, let me go again. The change of motion is proportional to the motive force impressed and is made in the direction of the straight line in which that force is impressed. This is 1961, right? So that's his second. And now let's go to his third, which is your explanation for thrust in a vacuum, which I'm not happy with, thrust in a vacuum, totally. Right, listen to this. To every action there is always opposed an equal reaction, or the mutual actions of two bodies upon each other are always equal and directed to the contrary parts. Thank you, Newton. So that's how it was written in 1961. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. To every action there is always opposed an equal reaction, or the mutual actions of two bodies upon each other are always equal and directed to the contrary parts. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Much more snazzy, I do believe. But then, it was Newton, right, again. Now, I can't remember, about a year ago, I was talking about the prism and how I said, there's no way Newton had a prism, a glass prism, to do what is claimed that he did. And I remember looking up on Google and seeing when prisms were first made, yada yada, right? And how would Newton, first of all, born in 1643, so in 1687, right? How did he make a glass prism? A glass prism is quite a thing. Now, my thing back then, when I was talking about this, was there is no way, right? And in this book, right, and this is the science, popular book of science, where is it? It is said, and when I say they change things on Google and stuff, right? Now, I've read this out once before, and it's about Newton, right? When he procures a prism. And I'm saying, this did not happen, right? So let me read this out. Where's my glasses? Oh, God, I tell you what, guys, you're under siege. You need books. Right. So here we go. Newton gave the first satisfactory and generally accepted explanation of colour phenomena. He began by experimenting rather idly with a prism, the wedge-shaped glass that causes the light of the sun to be broken up into a spectrum, or series of colours ranging from red to violet, as they are seen in a rainbow. Right, this is him, right? In the year 1665, he wrote, I procured a triangular glass prism to try therewith the celebrated phenomena of colours. Having darkened my chamber and made a small hole in my window shutters to let in a convenient quantity of the sun's light, I placed my prism at its entrance that it might thereby be refracted to the opposite wall. It was at first a very, very pleasant divertisement. And it goes on, Newton then proceeded to make a serious study of colour phenomena by an ingenious arrangement of prisms, lenses and screens, yada, 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 yada. Now, my point was, no, there was no prisms back then, right? But this is when it gets even better. And then, my bloody computer's cacked itself. So I jumped onto a laptop and I typed in prism to see when it was first made and stuff like this. And what do I find? 1665. The prism was invented now by Isaac Newton. Newton was studying light and colours at Cambridge University in England when he discovered that a single beam of white light could be split into... Now, in 1961, it is said that he procured a prism, and in his chambers, he darkened his chambers, cut a little... Can you see what I mean? Now, I notice these things straight away because I'm the one that's looking them up. A year ago, this wasn't in here. He didn't invent the prism. Now, he invented the prism. Guys, you could believe me or don't believe me, but this is what I mean about they just add things. Now, the generation growing up are gonna think now that he invented the prism. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And guys, this is Google and NASA been working together since 2005. If you don't have any encyclopedias or books, you are never gonna know. This is exactly what I was talking about. I'm lucky in the sense that I've got all of these books. I've got sets of encyclopedias, right? Books up there. So I can see this stuff. But for those of you who are just relying, and every now and again, how often do I get it? Google this, Google that, that's where you'll find it. Guys, it's happening in front of your very eyes, and you can't even tell that it's happening because you need to be interested in this stuff to understand what's going on, right? I'm telling you right now, Newton didn't invent the prism, but now he did. You heard, you saw what was in the 1961 encyclopedia. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I had this Lagrange thing, but I'm going to leave it here because this was all about Newton now, right? Guys, if you do have encyclopedias, don't throw them away. I'm going to put out another APB, All Points Bulletin. See, I did that last year and picked up 2 sets. Somebody might be ready to get rid of some more sets. Guys, you are under siege, right? All of these things, most of them. There was no reason for these people to be doing this 200-300 years before it was needed. Why? Why? All of this, it's about one thing. All came. Why is Lagrange not in my 1961? Strange. What if he was fed in 1962, 1963, 1964? Later, peeps. That's a wrap, innit?